I won NaNoWriMo. Hi everyone and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about my Nano experience for 2018, how I did, how it was, and what my feelings towards it is. Now last time I updated you was 2 weeks ago, which was the second last week of Nano, and the last video I uploaded was me attempting and achieving a 10k day, which I did on the Tuesday before that video went up. In that video I shared my plan with you guys for how I was going to catch up, which looked like this. And even though I did do some alterations to the plan, I did actually win. This is what my graph ended up looking like, and let's talk about it. So if we backtrack a little bit to sort of the end of October when I uploaded this video, I had an idea that I was very excited about called the Labyrinth, and that was going to be my project for Nano. Now when I got this idea, I also got this sudden urge to plot, which is something that I don't do. I am way more of a pantser, occasionally a plantser, but if I had to pick one, I would say I'm a pantser. And this year I got the sudden urge to plot because I had an idea that in broad terms had a beginning, a middle, and an end, which I rarely start off with. In order for that to work though, I would have had to plot in October. But on October 13th, Marcus and I went to Japan. And like I talked about in my latest video, we were quite ill in Japan. Mostly Marcus with his gallbladder issues, but as of right now, I have also personally been on crutches for 9.5 weeks due to a foot injury that is worse than I first thought it was. Not that a foot injury really gets in the way of plotting, but I'm gonna use it as an excuse as to why I didn't do it. I also knew, which I think I said in the this is my Nano story video, I knew that I was gonna be behind when we came home from Japan. My intention was to write a little bit every day during our roughly a week, 10 days in Japan. Probably most likely end up being behind, but then catch up fairly quickly after coming home. As you can see by my old friend graph, that is not what happened. We came home on the 9th and Marcus had been fairly ill for quite a while, and we had that weekend, the 10th and 11th, which was pretty uneventful. It was us catching up on sleep and getting over jet lag and that kind of thing. But Marcus was still not feeling great. On the Monday he went to the ER and was then sent home. We spent a good few hours there. On the Tuesday I had to go get an x-ray for my foot and I had another doctor's appointment. And on the Wednesday Marcus had to go back to the ER because he was just that much worse and he was admitted to hospital. And I had another doctor's appointment, this time about my foot, regarding the x-ray I had the day before. And then I went to meet up with him in the ER and then he was admitted. He then spent the remainder of Wednesday and Thursday and Friday in the hospital, had surgery on the Thursday and was then allowed to go home pretty late on the Friday. This was of course very stressful and not really a time for nanoing for either one of us. So yeah, I didn't do that. I don't think I wrote a single word between the 9th and the 16th. So a good week of Nano I did not write. And on the 9th I had 744 words, so that's what I had at the end of day 16 as well. And yeah, it was rough. Now obviously my priority at that point wasn't Nano, despite the fact I wanted to keep my streak up and I wanted to win. My priorities were elsewhere. My priorities were my fiance feeling better. But he was not home on the Friday the 16th, and slowly I started thinking again that maybe I have a shot at winning NaNoWriMo. On the 17th is when I sat down and started to write again. And on the 17th was the day that I hit and surpassed the 1,667 words that you're supposed to get on the first day. I then hatched the plan, TM, and took it from there basically. So as you saw in the video from a couple weeks ago, I did do a 10k day on Tuesday the 20th of November. The day after I did a 5k day, and on the Thursday that video went up I did another 10k day. And at the end of that day, at the end of the 22nd, I had hit 35,000 words, which thinking about it is a crazy amount of words to, you know, get out of your system in just a couple of days. The day after, on the 23rd, I actually was on par for the first time. I then slowed my pace down quite a bit and aimed for a lower word count per day from then to the end, but I did end up winning on the 28th, which is Not my earliest win, also not my latest win. I am now also less than 15,000 words away from my overall Nano word count over all the years of participating being 500,000 words, which is really cool. But also, since I want to hit 500,000 words written between September just gone and next August, and I've achieved that in 10 years of, yeah. I mean, not all novels and novellas, short stories, whatever, that I've written over the past 10 years have counted towards NaNoWriMo. So I have written more than 500 words over the past 10 years, because that number also doesn't include the words I've written during camp. I'll see if I can find what my camp overall word count is and put it in here. But the fact that I've achieved that over 10 years and now want to do it in 1 year, I'm a little crazy. I also abandoned my idea, the labyrinth idea, around the 8K mark, which is sad, but it had to be done. It's not an idea I was excited about anymore, or rather I was excited about the idea, but I could not execute it well at that point in time. I hadn't plotted, which I was gonna do in October, but we were going on vacation and Marcus was ill and my foot was hurting and I was still blaming the foot. And I just didn't have enough to go by, or I didn't have enough knowledge about the plot to write it well. And I figured I'd just drop it at 8K, pick it up at a later point in time when I actually have more to go by. I then started writing a different story. I mentioned this briefly in the other video from a couple weeks ago, but I started writing a story that I called How to Propose Marriage on the First Date and Get Away with It, which was just as big of a train wreck as it sounds like, but I did have a lot of fun writing it. I sent my main character on a lot of shitty dates and I enjoyed it because I didn't have to live them. I did, however, start losing steam with that story as well, and I couldn't just keep on writing crappy first dates. I hit a point where I was like, I don't want to see another date ever again in my life, and I figured I should probably stop there and not push myself further. And so the last couple thousand words, I wrote a story about a princess who was trapped in a tower guarded by a dragon, and they knew that when a prince eventually arrived, one of them was supposed to marry it and one was supposed to try to eat it, and they weren't quite sure who was supposed to do what. And no prince had come for like 10 years and they were feeling kind of fed up, and they were friends, they'd become friends over the years, and so they just decided to take off and go rob a bank because they needed funds to live off of when they weren't in the tower anymore, and so they decided to rob a bank. I did win Nano before they got to the bank robbing though, so to be continued. I don't think I'll continue either one of those stories, neither the How to Propose Marriage on the First Date and Get Away with It or the Princess Dragon story that I never actually named. I don't think that I'm gonna continue either one of those. Maybe the princess one, because it was very interesting and it was very outside of my comfort zone, but also I didn't feel like I had to adhere to any rules really, so we'll see. I am going to continue the labyrinth, but I'm going to actually start it over at a later point, maybe for camp in April, maybe tomorrow, probably not tomorrow, we'll see. So what have I learned then from this crazy month where I wrote 50,000 words in essentially 13 days? Well, I've learned that I am incredibly stubborn. I've been reminded that I'm very stubborn. But this was my 10th year doing NaNoWriMo, not counting camps, and I did not want to lose. I did lose my first year, I did lose in 2009, but my Nano streak is still 10 years, and now my winning streak is 9 years. And I was not ready to see that go. And I also managed to finish early, which I did not expect, and I'm very happy I did because I would not have wanted to add more stress towards the end of last month. But I am incredibly proud of myself. I really can get stuff done when it comes to writing if I put my mind to it. With that being said, I'm leaving the month with stories that are unfinished and not very great. It's been very stressful. I've also had a lot of fun, so it's a bit of everything. I would have liked to hit the 500,000 word mark for Nano this past November, but that just wasn't in the cards and it wasn't anything I was actively ever aiming for, so I'm not upset about that. But I've learned that I'm stubborn. I've learned that I can get shit done if I put my mind to it. At least writing. I have a hard time dedicating myself just as hard to other things that aren't writing, but that's a whole other story. I've also learned that I'm still not a plotter. Now, maybe things would have gone differently if I'd actually planned this novel out beforehand. In the past, when I have plotted, not just for Nano, for writing projects in general, I give up halfway through or less than halfway through because I feel like I already know what's gonna happen, so why write it? Where's the excitement? Which is a bad approach, but it's not how I approach it, it's just how I feel when I'm doing it. Had I plotted before the month started, maybe I would have actually known what I was writing and I wouldn't have given up on my first story. But there was also a reason probably why I didn't plot. But overall, I am extremely happy that I won, and I'm really proud of myself for achieving that despite everything else that was going on. And hopefully for camp in April and July, I'll actually have more time, less health issues, and be able to like stick to the writing in a better way and not have to play catch up in the last 13 days, because that was stressful and I don't recommend it. Also, I just realized I said that I wrote a novel in essentially 13 days. That's not true. I wrote it in 11 since I finished on the 28th. That's insane. But yes, that was it for this video. Marcus is also doing a recap of how his month went. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you. His video will probably go up on Saturday, so I'll add a card up here when it's up. And yeah, I want to apologize there was no video last week. I did film a video that raw footage was like 1 hour and 20 minutes of me complaining about Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. I didn't like how the footage turned out, and I might refilm it in the future. Anyway, I am almost certain I'll be back with another video next Thursday, so I will see you then. Let me know in the comments down below how your Nano went. If you won, if you didn't participate, what you learned from this month, and if there's any particular thing you hope to do differently in a future NaNoWriMo event, or that you hope you'll remember because you did it so well this time, or you did it so bad that you want to make sure to not do it that badly again. Have a good one, guys. Bye.